Hello, welcome to Quick Mathematic. If you like the way I teach, make sure to click the like and subscribe button. Today, I'll be showing you how to solve questions on linear programming. So we have a question on linear programming here, which came the year 2021 under the grade 12 ACZ internal examination. So the question reads as follows. A traditional drinks dealer stocks two brands of drinks, brand A and brand B, both of which are produced in bottles of the same size. He wishes to order fresh supplies and finds that he has room for up to 900 bottles. He knows that brand A is more popular and decides to order at least twice as many bottles of brand A and brand A as brand B. He wishes, however, to have at least 100 bottles of brand B and not more than 700 bottles of brand A. Let X be the number of brand A and Y the number of bottles of brand B. Write four inequalities to represent the information above. So before we go into that, we have to take a quick look. These are the terminologies we should be familiar with when it comes to linear programming. We have at least, which means more than, and we have at most, which means lesser than or greater to. Then we have more than, which is more than. Then not more than, which is lesser than. Exceed means more than, and not exceed, it means lesser than. So let's try to find the four inequalities in this question here. So we will go here. It's telling us so the main point here is that he wishes to order fresh supplies and finds that he has room for up to 900. So up to means it should not exceed 900. It should be less 900. So we're going to write X representing brand A and Y representing brand B less than 900. It said room for up to. That was the limit, 900. This is our first inequality. Now let's go look for a second inequality. He knows that brand A is more popular and so decides to order at least twice as many bottles of brand A as of brand B. So brand A is representing X and brand B is representing Y. So we're going to say, it says twice. We're going to say X is more than Y. This is our second inequality we have found. Let's now look for the third inequality. So, however, he wishes, to have at least 100 bottles of brand B. So they mean the bottles of brand B were more than 100. Then let's go for our fourth inequality. Let's look at the last inequality here. And it states, and not more than 7 bottles of brand A. So they're saying the bottles of brand A should not exceed 700. So X is lesser than 700. Now we have these inequalities. We can now graph them down. We write them on the graph paper. So we have these inequalities. So it's telling us here. So we'll go on the graph And write is what we have found here. We'll write them down on the graph paper here. So our first inequality was x plus y not exceed 900. We'll write them. Then our second inequality, 2x plus 2x, I mean more than y. Our third inequality, we'll write it here, y more than 100. Our fourth inequality, we will write it here, x is lesser than 700. Now we have this, so we'll have to graph them. So it's telling us using a scale of 2 centimeters to represent 100 bottles on each axis. Draw x and y axes. So they're telling us, so we'll start with the x-axis. 0 is lesser than x lesser than 900. So we'll start with the x-axis. The x-axis here. That is what we'll start with. I'll make my line very straight in it, and my y here. So there it said my x. So my z. They said, the question said in represent 100, to represent 100 bottles on each. So we're going in 100. So this will be my 0. This will be my 100, my 200, my 300, my 400, my 500, my 600, my 700, my 800, and my 900 here. This will be our 900. So let's graph the y-axis now. This is, we're done with it. So on our axis, saying 0 is lesser than y, lesser than 900. So here, we'll do as we did. It is going in hundreds. This will be my 100. This will be my 200. This will be my 300. This will be my 400. This will be my 500. This will be my 600. This will be my 700. This will be my 800. This will be my 900. So we've reached there. So what was the first inequality it told us? It was telling us x plus y is lesser than 900. So what they mean, it should be lesser than 900. It should not be exceed. So we're going to do this. We're going to put our points here on 900 on the y and the x axis. And then we'll get our ruler. So 900 here should be 900 and x. So we have done those things. We'll get our ruler and we will graph. Now we have done that. They're telling us it should be less. We want the lesser region. So we're going to cancel out the greater region. We'll cancel it out. Lesser than 900. Now we have done that. What is it telling us here? Our second inequality. Our second inequality, it is telling us our y should be greater than 100. So we want the greater region. So we're going, I know my y is here and my y. So I'm going to graph it here. What do I want? I want the greater region. So I'm going to cancel out the lesser region. I'll cancel out the lesser region. So I have cancelled out. So what is my third inequality? My third inequality is telling me 2x is greater than y. So what I need to do here, I'll need to build a box of values. So I'll build a box of values here. So I'm going to get this same equation. I'm going to say 2x I mean is lesser than y. So I'll build a box of values. This will be my x, this will be my y. So what am I going to do? So I want to find, so let me get, on the x-axis I am having 0. So I'm going to put 0 here. 0. Now I want to find for y. So I'm going to do 2x is greater than y. So I want to find for y. So I'm going to replace it here. This 0 here, which is in this x. So I'm going to put it here. Is greater than. So 0 times 0, it's going to give me a 0. It's going to give me a 0. So here to be a 0. So I'm going to check, since I chose 0. So now let me choose 200 here. Let me choose a 200 now. 200 here. So let me do this. So 200, this 200 will come here on the x. It will come on the x. So I want to find for y. I'm going to say 2x is greater than y. So here, this 200 will come here. Will come here. 2 times 200 is going to give me a 400. 400. So it's going to be 400 here. That's what I found on the box of values. So I'm going to use this coordinates now. I'm going to say 0, 0. 0, 0. I'm going to graph it here. Then I'm going to say 200, 400. Where's my 200? My 200 is here. 200 on the x here. Now the 400. Let me look for the 400. 200. Now the 400 on the y-axis. Y-axis. The 400. My 400 is here. So I'm going to graph it now here. So let me graph. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. It's supposed to be 0, this. Sorry, that was a minor mistake I made. So in the exam room, it's to use a pencil. A pencil. Do not use a pen. Do not use a pen. So the reason I'm using a pencil is to make you see clear. So here they told us 2x is greater than y. So what do we want here now? What do we want? So they're telling us that the x part, it is greater than the y. The y part is less. So we're going to cancel out the y part. We're going to cancel out this part. So this part is less. So the x part is greater. The x part is greater. So keep in mind, don't forget, it's supposed to, I found 0, 0, then 200, 40. So it was supposed to go this way. So now, what is our fourth inequality? Our fourth inequality, it is telling us our x is lesser than 700. So I'll go on 700 and graph on 700 here and make. I'll pass my line here. I'll pass my line here on the ruler. So what are they telling us? They're telling us the x is less. They want the lesser region. So I'm going to cancel out the greater region, which is on the right hand side. So when I cancel out, so I'll cancel out this region here. I'll cancel it out. So now I have my R. This is the region I was in search for. Now when I'm done, I'm going to get my exam paper question. What does my exam paper say? Now on C. Given that the profit on a bottle, given that the profit on a bottle of a brand A is 3 kwacha and on a bottle of brand B is 2 kwacha. The number of bottles on countries. So what do they mean here? So I'm going to say this is brand A. So I'm going to say brand A is represented by X. If we could all remember, X and Y is represented by brand B. Is equals to question mark. We don't know. So how do we find? So I'm going to get these points here. So I'm going to get this point here, and these points, and these points, and these points. So here, this is 300, 600. Then here it's 200, 400. 200, 400. And this here, it is 50, 100. 50, 100. And this here is 700, 700, 100. And here it is 700, 200. So now let's start entering the values here. Let's enter the values here. So let's start with this. I'm going to say, so let's start with these values here. So here they told us the two. So I'm going to put they told us given the profit on brand A. So A here, it's going to be A X plus, here there's a 2 kwacha here, 2 Y. So where am I getting the X, the 3 kwacha and the 2 kwacha? They told us the price. Brand A is 3 kwacha. 3 kwacha is representing X, and 2 kwacha is representing Y. So now I'll start substituting with what I found here. So I'm going to say 3 open bracket, this 300, close bracket, 600, 600. And I'll do the same thing again. I'm going to say 3 kwacha, open bracket. I'm going to get this 200 now. This 200, plus this 400 here. So it's good. 400. So I'm trying to find the maximum profit. And I'll also get this here. This, I'm going to 700. This will be 700 plus 2, which would be 100. And also this, I'm trying to find my maximum profit. 700 plus 2, here there's a 200 here, 200. So you get your calculator, you're trying to find the maximum profit. So you start to enter to punch in the calculator. Let's start with the first one here. My first one here is 300 open bracket, 300 close bracket, plus 2, 600 inside the bracket. I enter this one. It is giving me 21,000 kwacha. 21,000 kwacha. Then let's try this one here, the second one. So the second one. So I'm going to say 3 kwacha open bracket, 200 plus 2 open bracket, 400. This is giving me 1,400 kwacha. Now let's go to this one here, the third one. Open bracket, 700 close bracket, plus 2 open bracket, 100 equals it's giving me the profit of 23,000 kwacha. Let's go to the last one here. So 3 open bracket 700 plus 200. It's giving me a profit of 25,000 kwacha. So the one which has given me more profit, it is this. So now we'll, like, this is our maximum profit, maximum. So the number, so our question here is saying, question 1 here, 1, the number of bottles of each brand that gives profit. So how many of these things are we going to need? How many bottles are we going to need to make a profit? So this is my C. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to write, so I'm going to get here. I'm going to tell them 700 bottles of brand A and what? And 200 bottles of brand B and 200. So 700 bottles of brand A and 200 bottles of brand B. Then then question 2, then the second question, the maximum profit. So our maximum profit here, it is 2,500 kwacha. This was the profit we found here. Thank you very much for joining me in today's lesson. Like, share, and don't forget.